Legacy, hello to you. Could you please give an introduction about yourself?
Hello. Thank you for having me. Yeah, my name is Legacy. I am 7 months now on the real world platform, which has easily been the most monumental 7 months of my life. Pretty short order. I sort of jumped right into Stock Campus, learned from a remarkable professor, absolutely outstanding. Then had the chance to network with some great people. And in that 7 months, it sort of came full circle. I started off as a student. Now I'm sort of an experienced tag member. So not only did I come in and get this personal success, financial success, I also was able to take that, turn around, and I'm already giving back to new students or students that have been there a while. So a really cool journey the last 7 months, coming again full circle from student to sort of leader slash still student. It's been pretty
Uh,
remarkable.
Seems like a quick evolution on your end. So, did you come in with any prior experience, or were you completely new to stocks?
Yeah, so it's an interesting question that you ask. I did have some interest in it back in 2019 and put my time into it a little bit, but 9 to 5 employee work doesn't always allow for that. I was traveling a lot for work and it was all over the place a little bit, so I didn't have a chance to sit down. But when I sort of came into here, I had a good framework in my brain of what I expected, but I also was dedicated to the material that I was seeing because not only was I studying it, I was watching the professor practice what he preached. He would write down the things in his course material and you'd look at it and then you'd go over to the chats and what he was doing and word for word, step by step, he was following it. So proof of concept was there, sort of tied that in with the experience I had had, and it just blossomed, relatively quickly from there.
And how did you actually find out about the real watch, and what led you to joining?
That's a longer question to answer, and I'll give you the short version. But I was a rather truculent adolescent. I got myself in and out of trouble when I was in my teens, and then sort of 20 years old, I had this pivotal moment. I found myself in school. I'm getting 2 degrees. I'm in honor roll, and I'm obsessed with this idea of learning how I learn. It wasn't even the content, just learning how I learn. And then landed a job in music. It was cool. I'm interviewing artists, Michael Jackson's producers, but there's no money there. It's just this really kind of like cool gig. I get to say, I work in music. Shift over to tech, and in this new role, I'm able to travel the world. I thought this was the coolest thing, by the way. You travel the world, you see Madrid, you see Denmark, you see New York, you do all these crazy things. But it started to bother me. I thought this is what I wanted, but I have a big family and I have a fiance and I'm away from them all the time. And that was hard. I'm away for holidays and all those sorts of important moments. Money's great, but not quite hacking it. And I sort of had this itch where I couldn't believe someone was telling me an hour of my life was worth X amount of dollars. Like it just really bothered me that that was happening. And then also I'd go to these shows, do a talk, company would make 50, 60K off my time. I wouldn't get that 50, 60K. December 2022 rolls around. I look at my fiance. I tell her, you know what? December 16th, 2023, I don't care what it takes. I'm quitting 9 to 5 work. I got to find a way. I don't know what it is. I have some couple small businesses. I'll work on those. And then I jumped into doing that. Spent January till June doing personal development courses, studying trading again because now I have time to do it a little bit. Real world kind of crosses my desk over social media, and obviously what Andrew was doing caught my eye. And I thought, $50. I I just paid $1,800 for a 6 week boot camp. I can pay the $50 to get into this course, especially if there's all these campuses. And jumped in, man, and I was like full head of steam in. I knew that I only had, June till December to make it work. And coincidentally, actually, my work had found out through some colleagues of mine that I was planning on quitting December. So they let me go in September.
Mm.
And I didn't even fret. I looked at the real world, went downstairs, told my fiance, I just got let go. Don't worry, I got a plan. Came up the next day, and man, I'm telling you, like, made the money and never looked back. Like, I'm only 6 months out from that, but it was just life changing instantly. And I have no reason to ever leave this platform. I don't care if I make $10 million, I will always be here giving back to it because of what it's done for me in such a short amount of time. It's just been a remarkable experience, man. So it came kind of found it through being diligent and making a decision, and good things happen when you're doing good things. So
I always love hearing that, just how grateful people are for finding the platform and what it's done to them. So that's
yeah.
awesome. And just to make this more credible for someone who might be skeptical, how is your progress throughout the real world? Let's say when you first started out, that first month, then month by month, what did you improve in? How much money were you making? And what has that led to now? Because someone might think, you join and then you instantly make money, it must be a scam. That's
Yeah,
not the case. It's about the amount of work you put in and then it's how much you'll
yeah,
get out, basically.
you nailed it. There's a sort of arrogant answer that I think applies to life, but you got to put the work in. You just do. And I put myself in a position where I was holding true to my word. No matter what happened, I was quitting my job. And I know it was boom or bust. And I took the course material quite serious. And by extension of that, I did it in a professional manner. So, you do any sort of job, the idea is you get up, you get ready, you focus on it, you practice it every day, and you get better at it. For me, it was like wake up every day, read the course material, have it playing in the background, even though I don't need to be listening to the same lesson 5 times. Let me double check this work, really sort of dedicate myself to that process. And I didn't start with paper trading account, which a lot of people do, because I'd had that past experience of trading before. So I knew what the ebbs and flows sort of felt like of beginning day trading. And the first goal was let me make 300 US a day. Let me follow these routines. Let's make 300 US a day. And then all of a sudden, you're doing that and you're going, okay, what's the recipe here? Now you're making $1,000 every couple of days. You're going, this is kind of crazy. I didn't anticipate this. How did I get here? And the answer was this: I asked a ton of questions. It's crazy how many people will get on a platform and not realize that you've got all these people who are so experienced that know so much more, pardon me, than you do. You're not asking questions. It's not like school where everyone's a student and no one has the experience. You're just asking other students. No, no. There's people here that know. And if you ask and you take your idea and you test it and you change it, people will give that feedback to you. And that really only comes from back testing, dedicating yourself to the work, setting benchmarks. And then over time, if I'm being honest, and this is going to sound crazy, the money doesn't even matter. And I know it sounds weird, but the money stops matter. You're learning the skill. So no one can ever take that from you. If someone gives you $1 million right now, better learn to become a millionaire really quick. And that was sort of the mindset I took is let me focus on this material, make this $1,000, every 3 days now. Let me just soak it in and stuck to it, continued asking questions, learned from a professor who was doing it, who was again remarkable. You know who I'm talking about. He's just a remarkable human being.
That's not something you have to keep confidential. You can say professor names. That's completely fine.
Ayush, I can say
Yeah,
Ayush.
you can say.
Yeah. Okay. So, but it sort of all came together. Ayush was a huge help. He practiced what he preached and it just made it simple. So you go from I want to make money to, oh, what's this skill? And once you learn the skill, you're printing it. You don't even care what it is. And that means so much more, to me than anything else I could have thought of. So the credibility comes from the network, putting in the hard work first and foremost, and acting like a professional, I think is the most important thing. You know,
Sure.
that would be where I leave it.
Okay, very solid. I do want to come back a bit more to it
Mhm.
later, but for now, since we're on this topic, how much money have you earned then, either recently or overall?
So from what I've calculated in the last 2 weeks alone, I've made 49,000 US dollars or Canadian dollars, which is about 37 US dollars in the last 8 days. When I first started, I was doing 8 to 900 US a week. By December, it was sometimes 10 to 12,000. Now we're here, and I've 3x that at $49,000 Canadian, thanks to the real world. I really have to credit it to the things I've learned in the community. It's a remarkable amount of money in very short order.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
So yeah,
nothing
life
like it.
changing. Congratulations on that.
Thank
And
you.
again, for anyone skeptical, could you show some kind of proof for that?
Yeah, I can show you. I have a couple screenshots here from even like the last 2 weeks, so you can see. Maybe you can see there. Oh no, so there's
Mm.
5,000. This is 7,000. Oh, right
Easy.
there. This is another 4,000. And this is all, again, in the last few days of me selling 9,000.
Mhm.
And I can keep going. Like it, but again, the numbers don't even matter at this point. It's the
Mhm.
freedom and just the life itself. It's been amazing.
Right. So again, super awesome. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And a bit more technical now. How do you actually get such a system? Is it purely because you let go of your emotions when trading? Because some people might say, I've already made my goal for $1,000 today, but let me
Mhm.
do some more trading because it's going so well." And then I'd presume they lose money that way. What do you just purely stick to your daily targets? Is it a system you've rigor, rigorously? Yeah, that's the word. Rigorously tested. Um, just anything along those lines. How do you
Yeah.
actually maintain that without losing it?
Well, limits are only limits that you set, right? So I'm saying this is my goal, but it's not my end target. And I think that's important too. If you limit yourself, then you're probably only going to hit that limit. What it comes down to is, again, going back to being professional, is acting like a professional and treating it as such. You used a great sort of analogy or discussed emotion. Trading has so much parallels to life. Emotional control is one of the greatest assets a trader can have. And that comes from back testing your strategy, trusting yourself, trusting your system. What you need to learn and what you need to know is all on the platform. It's all there. And you should do due diligence and go out there and look for it and look for more information, because why wouldn't you? But all the things you need to make money and to be a good trader and to learn the skills sit on that platform. So emotional control being one of the biggest things that you need to have. But also sort of what I used teaches the professor, and what he's amazing at is you're not just you're not just trading, like you're trusting yourself. And really what that means is you're watching a trade, let's say it goes down 4% on the day the stock does. Well, because you back tested so much and because you're not freaking out, you're saying, I took the trade, I back tested, I know there's a 4% volatility, trade's not invalidated, I don't have to panic. And if it's invalidated, I'll leave. It's one out of 1,000 trades. If it doesn't invalidate, let's print some money. And it just becomes that, right? In that you learn to think systematically. A, B, C, X, Y, Z. This occurs, one of these two things occurs. If this occurs, then you know you're heading. You know what I mean? Like it almost prints it out for you in a logical manner. And the other thing that's really important is just contextually thinking about what is happening. What is going on in the markets? What is going on? Is crypto influencing the dollar today? Is the indexes, are they being pumped by only two stocks? Is that why these are up? So you start to think larger picture, no emotion, well, some emotion because you have to be a human being, but systematically. And by extension of that, asking the questions, testing your system, using fake money to start paper trading really helps you develop that. I think a lot of people get wrecked when they just say, oh, this person's making money, I'm just going to start trading. No, no, no. You have to put the work in like everyone else. And again, when you do that, the money doesn't matter. What matters is you've learned, you trust, and lo and behold, if you get one wrong, you do. But most of the time, you're going to get it right if you trust yourself.
And I'd presume your system needs to keep evolving over time as well, right? Because markets don't stay the same; they always evolve. Or is it something that will last you at least a few years?
Yeah, I mean, so the system that we use is called the box system, and the original person who authored it, I think it's called Trading in the Zone, was the book that it came out of. It's from years ago,
Mm.
years ago. And so the markets change, but human sentiment and the patterns don't. So that's why the contextual thinking comes into play. The box system itself is very much support resistance lines, understanding movement, momentum, moving averages. Those never change. Price action always tells the truth. And if you trust that through that back testing, you can adapt it and you're always going to want to learn more, but the basis, the foundation stays the same. The way maybe you enter trades and how you choose your exits might change a little bit. And sort of, if you get new ideas, the more you build, you're going to want to go in and say, hey, does this work? Like, is this an early entry where I could maximize that extra 2%? You'll do that. But the foundation for me feels like it hasn't changed. And I love that, actually, to be honest with you.
Awesome. Okay. Was unexpected. Thank you for that explanation. And I'm happy to move on now to more about your personal life in terms of how has your average day changed since joining the real world? How different is it now compared to before?
I'm glad you asked that question. I come from a big family, and family is important to me. My grandfather passed away, and he was the leader of my family. And to me, I wanted to step in and be that role. How can I be a leader? How can I be there for the people in my life? How in the future can I be a good dad, a good partner, and take care of myself? And the freedom, just the sheer freedom of me being able to get to the gym twice a day. I'm in the best shape of my life. I get to see my cousins. I get to see my fiance. We're going for dinners more often. The day to day is so different. It's monumentally different from what I expected I'd be doing. I thought I'd be making money a bit and chilling out somewhat. My personality is not that type. No, I want to do more. I want to be there for people. Being at the real world has helped me pay for weddings, pay for cars, pay off other people's debts, give to them. And I think I started off by saying, I came in, I learned the information, but now I'm sort of giving back to people in the real world. I'm doing that in my real life. And you can't put a price on that. You can't put a price on being able to pick up your cousins or your nephews and, teaching them skills, or, you're not worried about the bills. You're worried about your health and the people you love. And that's a different level of stress. It's stressful. And you learn to control what you can and not control what you can't. But there really is no monetary value you put to what the real world sort of generated now for me and who I am as a person.
Right. Beautiful. Okay. And since you're on this trajectory, where do you see your life heading in the short term, medium term, and long term?
I want to pretend like I won't continue doing this forever, but I know myself. Uh, I know I will. I know that I want to be here and give back. And for me as an individual, I'm going to keep working on my smaller businesses that I've been able to scale a little bit more. I'll be working on money velocity. For me is a big thing. How quickly can my money move? So, you make money in trading. I get to put it in dividend accounts, and it just makes more money for me. That's just going to be, I'm a conqueror. I just want to conquer the next thing. So I'll let the money work for me, probably work on my small businesses, then focus on being a good fiance, husband, and hopefully a dad, in the near future as well. That's where my goal is. I just want to be the leader. I want to take on that sort of masculine role, try and fill my grandfather's shoes, and that's what's most important to me.
Awesome. And how did your fiance react then? It seems she was supportive when you said you got fired from your job and then decided to go into the real world. Was she fully supportive of it, or was it something you needed to show her you could do?
I'm always proving something to someone, myself first. You have to understand, you walk downstairs to your fiance, you just got engaged, and you say, "Hey, I just lost my job." There's a worry there, and I saw it. The confidence that I had, though, from what I'd learned and trust in myself was, I told you I have a plan. I'm going to make this work. I understand you're worried, and valid, and I'm not. I'm not worried, and because I'm not worried, I think that bled over to her. The first couple of weeks, she's like, "Well, can you sustain this forever? Can you make that much money forever?" So the more money I make, the more I can make. The more free time I have, the more stuff I can do. And here we are now, and in a respectful sense, I haven't heard her say a thing to me in a little while. So I think she's feeling pretty good about the move.
Right. Awesome. Okay. So yeah, now you'll have financial stability for your family. Great to hear that potentially planning a child soon. That's always
Definitely.
amazing.
Thank you.
And in terms of questions, I'd say that's most of them. I have two more actually. We'll end
Please.
off with two questions. So, the first one: how different is the resources and the learning material within the Stocks campus from what you've experienced compared to what you could have found out on the internet?
Another great question. It's interesting. You'll pay $1,800 to sit on someone's course, and they'll tell you, "This is the play I'm making today, and this is the system I use." Great, but where does the confidence come from? Well, the real world and what Ayush put together, it's spelled out for you. You do this, try this, test it, look at it. This is what I do, and I'm going to show you every step of the way that I align with the system I talk about. Here are the results. Like proof of concept, proof of stake. When something works and you see someone doing it, it makes it so much easier than someone saying, "This is what I do, take this play. Pay me $800. Here's some videos I recorded on TradingView, and a Zoom, and you know the materials all line up. They make sense. They're systemic. They go beginner all the way to advanced. And for the real world, I mean, it's just a matter of following through on those things. It's not all over the place. It's linear. And that makes it simple for whether you're a person with 2 degrees or you're somebody who's still in high school. It's spelled out in such a simple way. And I cannot emphasize it enough. It is so simply put that I feel like when you look at it on the real world compared to even like institutionalized school with the help of the professors, you feel confident looking at it because you see it happening. And that goes so much further, you know, than someone just telling you this is how it works.
Right. Makes complete sense. And then we can end off with, for people who are unsure about joining the real world because they're thinking it could be a scam for the $50, what advice would you have to them?
Yeah. Successful people don't ask how much something costs. They ask what's the value, right? It's not how much is it, it's what's the value you're paying for the $50. I think I just told you I paid $1,800 for a course to do personal development. Well, I just paid 50. The value of the $50 was worth way more than an $1,800 course I took. So people have to learn to exchange money for value, not just money for cost. That's a poor way of thinking about life. The other thing I'd say is people will buy a $10 vape, pay $15 for Netflix, and then take their friends to McDonald's for $20. There's your $50. You know, the difference in what you could have done with that in a month is so revolutionary to you. You'll spend it on things that don't add value, but you won't spend it on things as simple as here's $50. We have 9 campuses. You're bound to find something you like in here. It almost baffles me, but
Mhm.
the ultimate message is don't ask how much it costs. Ask what the value is. That'll
All right.
probably change your mind.
And that's a very nice quote. I like how you put that. Okay. And yeah, Legacy, thank you for coming on and sharing your experience with the real world. The huge impact this had on you, making 49,000 Canadian dollars in 2 weeks is a, again, very substantial amount of money. So clearly changed your life, and I hope everything continues going well for you in future as well. You can continue scaling, your future endeavors do well. At some point in future, we can do a follow up as well to track your progress, see how you're doing. I look forward to that. But yeah, it was great speaking to you, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I really appreciate being here. Appreciate the platform, everything that's going on here. I'll be an advocate for life. So thanks again for your time and wishing you the best as well.